chapter 5, verse 41. Matthew 5:41. Jesus is teaching on excellence. It doesn't appear as if he's teaching on excellence, but he is. And he says, whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Whoever means whoever. Anytime you are compelled to go 1 mile, don't go 1 mile. Go 2. Anytime. And in this verse, there are 2 things Jesus talks about. First, he talks about what you are compelled to do. What you are compelled to do. What you're compelled to do is what is demanded by authority. What authority demands from you. What you are compelled to do is number 2, what you are expected to do as duty. Duty demands it. Thirdly, what you are compelled to do is what you do as a requirement for your wages. If your work output is based on these 3 factors, you are operating on just the first dimension of what Jesus talked about. What authority demanded from you. Your boss told you, do it. That's your job. That's your job description. And if you don't do it, you're not going to get paid. And so you do it. If you do it, you have only done what you were compelled to do. But he goes beyond that and he talks about what you choose to do yourself. Excellence is not based on what you are compelled to do, but what you choose to do. What you choose to do yourself is very different from what you are compelled to do. What you choose to do yourself is an act of love. It's not based on the demand of authority. Secondly, what you choose to do yourself is a means to show your worth, your true value. It's not expected as a duty. What you choose to do yourself brings inner fulfillment, not a salary. Now Jesus says if you are compelled to go 1 mile, you have to choose the extra by yourself. If you're going to have a spirit of excellence and manifest it, you always have to go beyond the expected. Always have to go beyond the expected. For example, your job is to clean the floor or sweep the floor. But you were not told to polish the floor. When you clean the floor, you've gone 1 mile. When you polish it, you've gone the extra mile. And that 2nd mile is what brings you before kings. Not what you are compelled to do. Because when you do what you're compelled to do, you've only earned your wages. But you have not earned the basis for your promotion. Excellence goes the 2nd mile. I'm a preacher. I'm compelled to preach. The Apostle Paul says, woe on me if I preach not the gospel. I'm compelled to preach. I have to preach. Every Sunday, I have to stand up and have something to say. I have to. The people are going to gather. The ushers will usher them in. The choir will sing. And I have to say something. And the next Sunday, they're going to show up. And when they show up, they are going to announce. And for the sermon today, we have the pastor to come and preach. And I have to walk up and I have to say something. I'm compelled to preach. But nobody tells me what I must preach. The quality I must preach. How much research I must put into my preaching. So I can come up and say, as David said, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. I feel like a sheep today. So I sing, Ba Ba Black Sheep. Have you any wool? That can be a nice message. It reminds me of a guy who was going to write an exam, and he had learned so much about trees. And he went to sit in the exam class, and there was no question on trees. There was a question on birds. So he spoke, and there was a nice bird, and a nice little bird. And one day the bird flew and landed on a tree. And at this stage, you may ask, what is a tree? So he went ahead and said everything he knew about a tree. Nobody tells me what to preach. I'm compelled to preach. That's what my congregation expects from me. But if I'm going to be excellent, then I have to go beyond what they compel me to do. And I have to go beyond the extra mile. And that is what determines whether my ministry is going to be excellent or not. Either I meet the requirements or I exceed the requirements. So your church members come to church and go back home and say, wow, what a blessing. It's beyond what we expected. If that becomes your daily report, you are excellent. So I say this, that excellence does not pursue salary. Excellence pursues potential. Excellence does not pursue salary. Excellence pursues potential. In other words, I don't work to fulfill the value that has been placed on me by the salary I earn. What I do must always exceed my salary. You must always work beyond your salary. Always. That's when you create value. Even if nobody sees you, you do it. Because one day, somebody is going to pass by that floor. And he's going to ask, who cleaned this floor? And you have no idea who is going to walk on the floor you are cleaning. You have no idea who is going to walk into that office you serve. You're supposed to do your job. You are not expected to smile. But if you smile, you are going beyond what you were compelled to do. And who knows, that smile can open